Hello everybody, metalheads. This is Martin van Drunen from Asphyx, and you're watching Agoraphobic News.
Hey, Milos here for Agoraphobic News, this time with Mr. Martin van Drunen of Asphyx. Hello sir, how are you?
Fantastic.
Are you super excited about the show at the Exit Festival?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I've been here now whole day, and yeah, I mean, the surrounding is, first of all, it's unique in the world. We just had fantastic food, so our bellies are stuffed, we're healthy, and the stage is great, the sound is great, so it's going to be it's going to be a fantastic show. And it's our first time in Serbia ever with Asphyx, so yeah, we're stoked. We're really stoked to do something good here.
And do you like the fortress?
It's amazing. Huh? What can you say? It's I mean, I've been asking people all kinds of questions, because I'm really interested, and then if you got answers that there was one. We don't even know the catacombs that are below here. The explosive stage, why they called it that way, is that because they had the ammunition stored below here, and all these stories. I mean, it's fantastic.
It's history, man. And in 1991 you released an album called The Wreck, and how important was that record for you guys?
Well, I think it was that way very important. It paved the path to Asphyx. Back in the days, it was our first album. It sold a lot. We got the first Asphyx fans, with a lot of people with that album before the demos, and yeah, it's still very influential. I mean, it also represents our style, and we never lost that kind of style. People who listen to us carefully, they will still find a lot of influences from the Rack in the albums that we make today. So that's Asphyx, yeah.
Awesome. And did the Tampa, Florida scene had an impact on that album? Did the Tampa, Florida scene had an impact on that album? American death metal scene.
Hard to say. I mean, in a way, yes, because but that had to do with bands like Massacre or Dream Death or Winter. I mean, we were not influenced by the blast stuff of Morbid Angel and stuff, but the different things. But Asphyx has always been a band that was more influenced by Hellhammer or Ancient Frost or Sabbath, things like that. I mean, that's why we have this kind of lots of doom in our music.
Yeah. I like it. It goes slow and then it's fasten up.
Yeah, but never with a blast. I mean, that was not. It's not that we. I mean, we still appreciate and really like the first Morbid Angel album or something like that. Which is still a classic. But it doesn't fit in the music of Asphyx.
So, were you maybe more influenced by Swedish death metal because they don't have blast beats and all stuff, like the Americans?
No, the reason is because that Swedish death metal came up the same time as Asphyx did. So we were influencing each other in a way.
And what is the song "The Crusher" about?
It's basically the Crusher is a celestial kind of person that looks down from the universe on the earth, and then decides this is going nowhere. You had your chances for centuries and centuries, and you still are doing the same all over. And even look at the day, what the hell is going on? There's even stupid people dressed up for their religion and bombing innocent. Come on, it's time to learn. It's time to grow up.
And what about Serenade in Lead?
Yeah, well, I was an angry little guy, and I decided to make a little kind of terrorist song from my point of view. I was really not happy with. I mean, I could still do it now with Donald Trump nowadays. Shoot the president. He's a bastard anyway.
And what about the second album, The Last Man on Earth? It's kind of dirty sounding when compared with its predecessor. Was that intentional?
Well, the difference between last one and the Wreck is that last one was written all by me, Bob and Erik. And the Wreck was written by a lot of members also before. And so I think last one was more complete as a lineup. And also Erik found his guitar, I think it's more dirtier, maybe heavier. But also because of Erik found his really the guitar sound that he loved to. And yeah, so in that way, you know, no matter what people say, I prefer a little bit last one above the rack. But okay, this is just my opinion. Yeah.
And is there a lyrical concept behind it, or
No, it's just song per song.
how?
There's a lot of I think there's one or two songs that are anti-war. There's gore songs, you know, there was one or two political things which the guys didn't appreciate, but later on I said, okay, they're right. You know, I should not put political opinions in an album. If I do that, then make a hardcore thing or something, you know, we're not punks.
And how important was your experience with Pestilence?
Yeah, well, it was very important, of course. I mean, it made me grown as an artist that I am. And Pestilence, that's where I gained the experience. You know, you do worldwide tours, you're on stage every night. So yeah, that was important, very important, yeah.
And what is like your favorite Pestilence album, Maleus or Consuming Impulse?
Consuming. Consuming Impulse.
Why?
Because it's more death metal.
Yeah, I mean
I think Maleus is more a thrash album. Yeah. And yeah, Consuming is more a death metal album. Yeah.
I agree because you know, it sounds like Bay Area thrash metal. I mean the first album, you know.
To me, it sounds more like the German side, you know, like Destruction and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's not bad. It was probably because it was the same producer, you know, Color Trap. But the reason why I prefer Consuming is that was the period where Pestilence tried to finally found his own style.
Yeah.
You know, and okay, afterwards they never recovered from that when I left. You know, so they lost their style quickly again. But yeah, it's still a good album.
Did you write the lyrics for those two albums, or?
Together with Marco, the drummer. Yeah.
Awesome. He was a really talented guy. I mean, too bad he's not playing anymore.
Yeah, Marco was, in fact. I mean, there's a lot of people who, you know, where his role is completely underestimated. And not just that he was writing also a lot of the lyrics, but he had a really good thought of arranging. You know, the way that you have to sing the lyrics on the riff. You know, I mean, he did like the vocal lines. He was not writing something, he was just having the vocal lines in his head. So all he had to do was, you come to me with the lyrics and go, okay, Martin, if you can do it like this, that's the way I had it in mind. And so his vocal lines, I mean, Out of the Body is his vocal lines. Echoes of Death is Marco's vocal lines. Yeah, Patrick had nothing to do with that.
I didn't know that.
No. And that's what everybody, that's why Pestilence nowadays is not Pestilence the way it is, because you can be a really great guitar player and you can come with a shitload of riffs, but if you don't know how to write lyrics, if you don't know how to implement the lyrics inside the music, and if you don't know how to arrange songs, then you're still lost. You know, you can't say you're the band. Yeah. And Marco really had like I said, a very underestimated part in many of the songs. Really, yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah.
And did you write the lyrics for the song Chemotherapy?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me.
Why did you write it? I mean, what inspired you for?
It was my neighbor that was dying from cancer, and I had a neighbor, was an older, well, not so old in fact, he was not even 60, and instead of, he was suffering, I think 2 or 3 years on his deathbed, you know, next to my room, because he was living there, and you know, the guy was in pain, like for 2 or 3 years. I don't know what I would do. I would probably say to myself, okay, then if I have to live like that, then I go kill myself, please. Yeah. So in the end, the whole idea behind the song was like the chemotherapy gave him more pain as a so-called cure, but it wasn't because it wasn't working, than the cancer itself. And that was the whole thing that inspired me actually for it. You can't find it in the lyrics though, because we were young kids, you know, you wanted to shock, but that was something that, yeah, to me it was really shocking. You know, back then.
Sick, man.
Yeah.
And why did you leave Pestilence?
I thought that was really well known. Well, to make it short, is that we did the US tour, America, and I really had a blast, and I was doing really well every night, every performance. We were playing with Death and Carcass, and to be honest, both bands didn't have a chance. Every night we blew them away. So I really had a good time, and then all of a sudden it was Patrick thinking that he was losing control, because he thought he was the band leader, but he was not. You know, every band is a band. You don't have a band leader. And so he decided, that I should be put on some kind of an island or whatever. And then I go, okay, you know what? I'm going to finish the tour, and then I go home. So I go home, and then after they returned, I got a call, and then okay, we got to talk. So yeah, we got to talk. And so I came in that room, and they were like, it was like a court, like three guys and me walking in, and the first thing happened was like, you are shit, you're an alcoholic. I'd go, okay, you know what? If this is the way you're gonna start it, and just come up with negative criticism instead of constructive, then fuck you and fuck your band. And I slammed the door and I left. That was it.
And I forgot to ask you, why did you leave Asphyx? I mean, 1992 or?
Well, that was like, small peanut shit. I think it had to do a little bit with money, that Bob was taking some more money and from things, and I go, okay, you're not gonna fuck with me like that. And so I took money from them again, and it was basically a little kid shit, really.
Yeah. And what did you do in the meantime? I mean, after you left?
Well, after I left Essex, I joined Ball Thrower.
Yeah. I tried to find that on YouTube, but I couldn't.
No. We me and Ball Thrower in together, like we decided, like okay, it's not necessary to find anything of that.
So there's no footage on the internet?
No. I think the only footage there is at Barry's home, like Baz, on his mixing board, I guess. And a lot of people want to hear it, but they're not going to get it.
Too bad. I mean, that's such a legendary band,
Yeah, but like after the departure of Kid, God have his soul. No, I don't think both will ever return again. Sad though, but so respective. It's a decision that you should respect. Yeah. And after Ball Thrower, I just had work like anybody else.
Yeah.
I worked in a distribution center as a warehouse chief.
So metal.
Exactly. And it was. I mean, I had satisfaction in that work. I enjoyed it until they fired me. And because you have like these temporary contracts, so they have to give you like either a steady contract or they have to fire you and okay, fuck off. I worked hard enough, and then to my luck, was the parties that come with an offer for Essex, like, oh, you want to play?
Yeah.
And then the ball kept rolling, so that's where we are now.
So then Death the Brutal Way happened, and that was really important record for you guys.
For all of us, yeah. Because we had to prove ourselves as the new Asphyx.
Awesome.
And also because Paul was carrying the torch of Erik as a guitar composer and a guitar player. And because all the fans were saying, oh, this is a fantastic album, so he got the recognition he deserved, and so he was gaining more confidence and trust. And I mean, Death the Brutal Way is a fantastic album, but I think we improved that with Death Hammer and afterwards Incoming Death as well. So I think Asphyx right now in 2017, 2018 is already, I was stronger than ever.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Yeah.
And what about the Death Hammer record? I mean, when you compare it with the previous one or with the latter one, I mean,
it's a logic. It's a very logic follow-up and progression. Like Death the Brutal Way still had a few weaknesses on it. With Death Hammer, we just we put that away as well. And I think Death Hammer was back then like the strongest album. Nowadays, I think like Incoming Death is it. It's not because you make a new album all the time, but it's just that you still improve and you still put that hard pressure on yourself to keep on making good albums and to not disappoint your fans. So Death Hammer was an important continuation of the success you had with Death the Brutal Way. And for us now, it's the key thing is to keep on have that continuation going all the time.
And what about song The Herald? It's like about this race for oil and what was it like, goal or something like that? Do you think that things like that might trigger World War III?
No, the Herald was a little bit the same. Like Herald was something like a figure like a Silver Surfer, you know, from the Marvel things. Like, you know, coming out of the universe, like and heralding the downfall of the Earth. And okay, I mean, put it this way. There's a lot of things happening right now in the world, but there's people like, okay, realizing that something has to be done. You know, there's a lot of people acting. You know, okay, solar screens, wind energy, and all that. But you know, after the fucking election of Donald Trump, where he goes, "All right, you know, we got to open the coal mines again, and we go back to the Stone Age." You know, what the hell you gonna even the Chinese are working hard to get the smoke out of their cities. Yeah. And then you got this moron there in the U.S.
Yeah, but I think they're the same when it comes to the pollution. I mean, they're the biggest polluters on Earth, and I think that even Chinese are they're destroying their country more than.
Yeah, but they found out now. You know, okay, we got to act.
Yeah, of course.
So they start at least doing things, but Trump and America are not. They just, you know, they just take the whole climate agreement like into reconsideration. When it was written already like for fucking years ago, and they go, okay, we step out of this because we need production. Yeah, of course. And production and that whole kind of thing, you know, making profit. That is what, you know, makes the world go down.
And that's what were like 80s about. I mean, all the profit and this Cold War scare. I mean, how scary were these days for you?
I don't think we realized back then, you know, how scary it was. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that we were listening also a lot of punk music, you know. So we were rebels against the system. And nowadays, you know, I see a lot of bands, and the only thing they take care about is like, okay, is my cell phone still working? You know, what about my battery? Yeah. I don't give a fuck, you know. And yeah, I think we were more, yeah, you know, like we were more committed to what the hell was going on, and also. Probably politically, I'm not going to say correct, but politically taught. Okay, if you are from that part of the population, then you're going to vote for that. You know, what I'm trying to say is that, okay, if you come from a family of hardworking people, then you're not going to vote for capitalists. You know, you vote for like socialists. Yeah. And nowadays, I go, okay, the one who has the biggest fucking voice, who screams the biggest bullshit phrases, is the one who gets the most votes. And you didn't have that in the 80s.
Yeah, but you had Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. I mean, that's even...
Yeah, they're still full of shit, yeah. I'm not going to say it was so good back then, you know. But still, you know, compared to Trump, Reagan was a pussy. Sorry. And they got Theresa May right now too, right?
You know what is like the biggest problem for me with metal? You know, in the 80s it was all against the nukes. People were aware of that problem, and nowadays it's just like pushed aside. And I mean, these weapons are even more destructive today than they were before.
Of course.
And, I mean, people are even ignorant, or they just deny that danger.
Well, I don't think it has to do with the fact with ignorance. I think the fact is it's not that I didn't mention the whole cell phone thing for nothing. Yeah. It's people just don't give a fuck anymore. You know, they wake up in the morning and all they do is like, okay, check my Facebook for new messages.
They're obsessed with themselves, you know. Yeah. That's the biggest problem, you know.
Yeah, and then they do. I mean, I grew up in a time where I watch the news every day. Point. I don't care. I take one time a day. I'm gonna watch the news. What the hell's going on in the world? There's other people go, I don't watch it. I only check my Facebook, and the rest I don't care about. Fuck. Put your fucking cell phone aside for just a few days and see if you can live without it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you know?
I mean, just take a look at my phone, man.
I don't have one.
I have one. It's shitty Nokia, man. I have to just look at this. It's like without...
Yeah, perfect.
Without anything, you know.
Yeah, perfect. That's the kind of thing that I have, but it's not working anymore. The only thing that's working is the alarm. For the rest, and you know what? My life is better without it.
Yeah. We should live this work.
Emails, and I tell the people, look, I have emails, and I can check my emails when I'm at home. You know, and don't bother me with anything else.
Yeah, and Can we discuss about Halo Bullets, maybe? Halo Bullets, you know, how did that happen? I mean, whose idea was that?
Stefan from Canada, together with Paul, and so we decided to do that, and I was okay, you know. I always wanted to do something with Stalingrad, and then it turned out to be a whole album.
Yeah.
And then afterwards 3 albums.
Yeah, and what is like your favorite album, favorite Halo Bullets album?
The first, Frost and War. Yeah, because of the sound basically, because it was raw. Yeah. I think the production of the last one, the Roman Chronicles, was, even though I prefer the concept of the Roman Chronicles, but I think the production was too clean. You know, it didn't have the balls and the dirtiness of Frost and War.
Yeah, and what about this World War II thing? I mean, how did you get interested into World War II so much, to a point of obsession maybe?
Stalingrad, basically.
Really?
Yeah. It was always the Battle of Stalingrad, and then the atrocity that happened there, and then you continue by reading about the Eastern Front, and blah blah blah, you go on.
Eastern Front was crazy, man. Do you know that like the British infiltrated communists here, and they basically turned us into communist country, you know? Churchill and Cambridge 5 and all these fuckers.
I know. And then there's a lot of people already forgot about that, but you know, it was not supposed to be Serbia, you know, it used to be Yugoslavia.
Yeah, but...
And Tito was in fact a bit independent from Stalin. Yeah. He was doing his own policy.
And Hungary, he was like a British agent, probably.
Yeah, but it was not so bad as it was in...
He was, man.
Yeah, he was, but not as bad as Stalin, put it that way, you know?
Yeah, but...
I mean, there's not like 100,000 died here, you know?
Yeah, but it's like if you choose between cancer and AIDS, what did you...
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid, man.
You're right.
And what is the status of Halo Bullets? Disbanded or...
On ice.
Really?
On ice.
So there is hope, man.
I'm not gonna say, I'm just saying on ice. It's not dead.
Okay.
It's on ice.
Halo Bullets is on ice.
It's on ice. Paul!
And...
Paul! Halo Bullets is on ice. On ice.
And what about the upcoming stuff from Asphyx?
Yeah, we've got lots of work on now. I mean, I got tons of songs ideas, and I only wait for Paul to come up with the riffs and the material, and then we'll see next year what the hell's going on.
Awesome, man. So you don't have a release date or a name for the album?
No. I've got a name, yeah, but I'm not gonna say anything because other bands will steal that.
Oh, that's really amazing, Dan. So is it going to be about Donald Trump?
No. If I'm gonna do that, then I'm gonna do a project where no one will recognize me.
Yeah, like cattle decapitation guys, you know.
No. Then I'll probably will join a Mexican band like Acides or something, you know. And
Brujeria.
Yeah, no, because they're not really Mexican.
But they're from San Diego or something like that. From
San Diego is
America.
It's still America, yeah. But Acides is like the real Mexican punks.
So
they already made a song called Donald Trump Must Die, so.
And do you have some final words, man?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for the interview. And second, to all the people here at the Exit Festival going to watch us, prepare for a fucking heavy, blasting like Asphyx show, like here first time in Serbia we ever here. And thank you to the Exit organization for inviting us, and the wonderful organization. We're already having a blast. Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks, man.